Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video, I want to show you how you can farm Diablo Clone to get the Annihilus Small Charm. Now, this is a unique Small Charm. You can only have one of them in inventory at a time, and it is the best Small Charm within Diablo 2. Now, what do you need to do in order to get Diablo Clone to spawn? If you have a ring called the Stone of Jordan, you have to vendor it to an NPC. Now, the way this works is if you're offline, you only need one of these. The second you sell it to any NPC in the game, you will get a message that says Diablo has invaded Sanctuary. And what you need to do is go to any of the super unique monsters in the game, which we'll get to later in this video, and instead of that super unique monster, Diablo will be there. And he will 100% of the time drop this Annihilus Small Charm. Now, online, it's a little bit of a different process. Because of the number of players, each server has a threshold of these rings needing to be sold to the NPCs in order for the clone to spawn. And that threshold is between 75 and 125. You can track this within your own server in the game, but I'm going to show you guys how to track it if you're not in game and how to track it on multiple servers. Now, assuming you are in game and you want to track that process, the way you do it is you open up your chat box and you type /Uber Diablo. Now, what this does, it'll give you a message based on the progress of how close he is to spawning. So the message here is Terror approaches Sanctuary. Now, I'm going to explain this in a little bit more further detail, but what this means is basically he's not that close to spawning. The message when he's very close to spawning will be Terror is about to be unleashed upon Sanctuary. At that point, I believe 74 Stones of Jordan have been sold, and now anything between 1 and 50 to meet the threshold of 75 to 125 of them being sold has a chance of spawning the Diablo clone. And when he does, you will get a message that says Diablo has invaded Sanctuary. And this is, of course, only in-game, and this will only track it for the server you were on. Now, however, if you are outside the game, this is how you track it. And I will put this site in the video description below. But here you can see the Diablo clone tracker. And what we saw the message before is right here. And I was on the American server, so Terror approaches Sanctuary. So the way this works is once this fifth bar is filled, let's see if there's any examples right now. No. But once this is filled to here, it'll say Terror is about to be unleashed on Sanctuary. At this point, I believe 74 Stones of Jordan have been sold. And anywhere for the next 50 that are sold to the NPC means the Diablo clone can spawn. Once it's here, it's already too late. So if you see that Terror is about to be unleashed into Sanctuary, that means it's very close. You want to be in a game. Because if you're not currently in a game and Diablo does spawn, he will no longer spawn in your game. At that point, it's already too late. And the other thing I want to get to is this is how you can track it for all three servers. So for each of the versions, whether it's ladder, hardcore, non-hardcore, non-ladder, there are three servers on which he spawns, and they each have their own separate progress. As you can see here, the Europe server is currently a bit further ahead, so chances are that the next spawn will happen on the Europe server. Now, if you didn't already know this, you can switch the server that you're playing on in Diablo 2 Resurrected, and all your characters in progress are transferred over to that server. So, the way to do that is if you go into your launcher here, you click Diablo 2, right next to this where it says Diablo 2 Resurrected, you'll see the regions. And here you can pick which one you want to go on and which one you want to play on. Now, I will give this as a little bit of a side note. If it's not the region that you're playing in, you can hop to any of the other regions, but chances are, because the server is farther away, your ping is going to be higher and it'll be a bit more laggy than on your home server. So keep that in mind. Be careful. It can get you killed, especially in hardcore. Lag is not something that you really want to deal with. So again, just be very careful with that. Now, as you can see on screen here, I have the message that Diablo has invaded Sanctuary, and this was during one of my farming runs. So now that I know that he's invaded Sanctuary, I can go back to town, and I'm going to go to the super unique that I want to kill him at. And this is really entirely up to you. I don't recommend going to any uniques that like are in super tight spaces or like somewhere where you don't really want to fight Diablo, so an open area is probably the most ideal. I prefer to fight him at Eldritch usually, which is why I tend to leave it open in case he spawns. And keep in mind, he hurts. So, like, be very careful. This isn't like something that you can really do until you have a proper build, or unless you're playing something like a Smiter that's just good at destroying bosses. For example, my Lightning Sorceress isn't like the greatest thing at killing it, but it does the job. It is magic fine build, so it's never going to be anything crazy, but just keep in mind that he does hurt. And as you can see here, you fight him, he's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but you will keep fighting him until he's dead, and then he drops the unique Small Charm. Now, once he does, be careful. If you already have one in your inventory, you won't be able to pick it up. So what you want to do is go back to town, or you can drop it just to identify, but put it into one of your shared stashes, and then go back and loot the other one. And then that's it. Now you have an Annihilus Small Charm. That's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope I was able to show you how to farm the Annihilus Charm properly and how you can do it on multiple servers. If you found this video helpful, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. As always, my social media information will be in the video description below. If you want to get a hold of me, I will always try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.